The President of the United States, not guilty, acquitted by the Senate. An incredible State of the Union speech. The debacle of the Democrats in Iowa. Nancy Pelosi throwing a temper tantrum, and the greatest American broadcaster alive today is very sick. So much to talk about on today's program. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to the broadcast, friend. President Trump acquitted by the United States Senate. The impeachment witch hunt is over. You know that, I know that, all of America knows it, and most of America wasn't paying attention. And the reason that they weren't is because most people, left, center, and to the right, most people knew that this was political. This was a political witch hunt. This was not about the rule of law. This was not about a fair trial in the House. This was about doing everything in the Democrats' power, them doing everything in their power to injure President Trump so that he cannot win re-election. And it is backfiring. Before I talk about how, I want to talk about Mitt Romney for a moment. Mitt Romney was the only Republican to vote to convict President Trump. I have never been a Mitt Romney fan. I believe he is a dangerous, treacherous man. When he was the governor of the state of Massachusetts, he signed into law a universal health care bill for the state of Massachusetts where somebody could kill their baby by abortion for a mere $50 copay. And then he tried to fancy himself and promote himself as a pro-life presidential candidate. I spoke out against him frequently when he was running in 2012. He is an unethical, treacherous, duplicitous man. And the reason that he voted to convict President Trump is he wants to run for president in 2024. He is the new Jeb Bush. He is the old establishment Republican who wants to bring dignity and honor back to the White House. He is not to be trusted. Mark my words, you will see him run for president in 2024 if things remain as they are. Enough time wasted on Mitt Romney, but shame on him. I hope that he gets nothing but grief for the remainder of his time in office because of his treachery and his duplicity regarding President Trump and regarding the Republican Party and regarding loyalty. He's just not a good man. All right, but I digress. And that is my opinion. That is my opinion. I don't trust the man. It's not as far as I can throw him. Let's talk about the Democrat Party right now. The Iowa caucus was a debacle. The impeachment of President Trump was a debacle. President Trump's State of the Union speech was a home run. President Trump's approval rating, according to Gallup poll, is the highest it's ever been in his presidency and much higher than President Obama's was at this exact same time. Add to that Nancy Pelosi pitching a fit after the State of the Union address and tearing up the State of the Union text and the backlash that she is getting. This is a bad week to be a Democrat. The Democrats have egg all over their faces, and it's going to take them a solid week or 2 weeks to recover. All right, let's focus on Iowa for a moment. The right-wing media in this country, TV, radio, in print, everyone is having a field day with the fact that as of the recording for this show, for Thursday night, at the time of the recording, they still don't have a final vote count. They literally still do not know for sure who won the state of Iowa. Now, Bernie is ahead in the popular vote. Pete Buttigieg is ahead in the mathematics of the distribution of delegates, but Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders both have 11 delegates as of the recording of this program. So they're in a tie. After that, Elizabeth Warren got 5. Joe Biden got 0. Joe Biden got 0 delegates as of the recording of this program. He is in deep trouble, and we will return to Vice President Biden in a moment. But the shocker of shockers was that Buttigieg's strategy paid off. He invested enormous amounts of time and money in the state of Iowa. And if you look at the map where he carried various counties, and that's the reason why he's picking up the delegates that he's getting, even though Bernie is ahead of him in the popular vote. If you look at the map, he worked his heart out in areas of the state of Iowa that were neglected by some of the older, more mature, so-called top-tier Democrat candidates. And now, as we head into New Hampshire, it's a sprint between Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders. These are two. I've got to take a break. When we come back, we'll focus on them. Later on in the program, I'm going to play for you the last few moments of President Trump's State of the Union. I have been watching State of the Union addresses for 40 years. And this was one of the best, if not the best, I've ever seen. We're going to play for you a little bit of that in the last segment of the program. And a lot more coming up. Please stay with me. This year, the Democrat primaries are taking turns that I think a lot of people could not have foreseen, including me. I knew that Bernie Sanders was going to be a force to be reckoned with. I did not think Buttigieg would finish this well in Iowa, and I thought Biden would have finished better. Biden polls well head-to-head against Trump. He is the ultimate party establishment candidate. Everyone thinks that he's electable. No one wants to vote for him. He is in trouble. A fourth-place finish, barely ahead of Amy Klobuchar. At this recording, no delegates out of Iowa, and it looks like he's coming in right now in New Hampshire around third place. He's still polling ahead in South Carolina. That's his firewall, but will it be enough to save his candidacy? I believe that it will be. I believe that his name recognition is so high and his ability to get press is so in the pocket that he will continue throughout Super Tuesday. He will be traveling around the Super Tuesday states in hopes that he can remain viable as we see Yang drop out. And if I could take a quick radical left turn, the reason that I said that this is so mercurial, so unpredictable, is because of Mike Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg deliberately sat out these first four primaries. He's letting the Democrat field winnow itself. He wasn't going to go to 99 counties in Iowa. He wasn't going to traipse around New Hampshire. He has already spent over $200 million in the Super Tuesday states. $200 million. It wasn't long ago when that was the cost of an ad buy for an entire presidential run. These numbers are unthinkable, people. So even if Biden does well in South Carolina, if he starts to get delegates, even if he does well in Nevada, he does not have the money to compete with Mike Bloomberg on Super Tuesday. Now, the Democrat establishment is terrified of Bernie Sanders and a little bit less frightened of Elizabeth Warren. These are two left-wing socialists. One is an avowed socialist. Both want Medicare for all, even though neither of them can tell how much it will cost, and neither of them can tell how much taxes will have to be raised. And the estimates are that this would bankrupt the country, literally, that it would require more to run universal health care program than the entire federal budget. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders have both declared, at one level or another, war on Wall Street, war on the pharmaceuticals, war on big corporations, war on the military complex. They are disruptors, far more than President Trump was a disruptor. I know that President Trump was a disruptor of the status quo, but he was doing it to bring jobs back. We've seen the Dow Jones Industrial and Wall Street go up, up, up in value, which helps millions of Americans who have 401k plans, who have retirement plans that are tied up in stocks. President Trump's policies have helped the average American family. And they've helped wealthy people. And they've helped businesses, which is why there's over 12,000 new plants either having been finished or just about to be finished in America, where manufacturing jobs are coming back. President Trump's policies are demonstrably helping people with their economic life, whether they're the poor, the middle class, the upper middle class, the rich, whatever. Everyone's being helped. All boats are rising right now. The Democrat machine knows that the policies of Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders would be disastrous for the country. Joe Biden is a moderate. He recognizes that their policies would be disastrous as well, but he's running out of money and people just aren't buying. He's got twitches. He doesn't look good in front of a camera. When he talks, he's got problems. Mike Bloomberg has money. Mike Bloomberg is a businessman. Mike Bloomberg is articulate. Mike Bloomberg could bail out the Democrat Party economically. If Super Tuesday comes and goes, and there is no clear frontrunner, this is going to drag on all the way through the primary season, and it's going to go to a brokered convention. I know that it's very early to say that, but no matter what, we have to understand Bernie Sanders has lots of people, lots of small gifts. He's got serious momentum right now, and the party establishment is terrified of him. Mike Bloomberg has money, doesn't have a lot of young people, but he's a brilliant businessman. And he's going to go after the data. He's going to poll, he's going to dig so deep with Democrats, with independents, and with suburban Republican women that he could be the person that comes along to either win the nomination, which we'll see, but also he could be the one who bails out the party and gets to pick who will be in some of the key positions of the Democrat ticket in 2020. So I've got to take a break. We will come back. We'll talk about Nancy Pelosi's fit. Don't go away.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
We've been told that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. But Islamic art and literature tell a very different story. To know the truth, we only have to study the narrative of the founder of Islam, Muhammad, in his own words. Nancy Pelosi broke all historic precedent, at least when there's been a television camera in the House of Representatives when the president does his State of the Union address. I've never seen anything like it. Her behavior on that lectern was so deplorable. I would have been filled with embarrassment if somebody sat behind President Obama or President Clinton and behaved the way that she did. It's the President of the United States speaking. It's the constitutional requirement that he address Congress once a year and deliver a State of the Union. That's part of our government. It's a part of who we are as we the people. It's part of literally our founding document of this government. So for her to sit back there and make faces and smirk and look off, she was telling people to back down or refusing to stand up at some of the most clear moments when you would stand up. And then at the end, when she ripped up the speech, knowing that she was on camera, knowing that this was going to be discussed for days and weeks to come, she showed what a petty woman that she is. Jonathan Turley, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Forgive me if I got it wrong, Jonathan Turley. He's a president, not a President Trump supporter, an attorney, a law professor. He wrote an op-ed piece calling for her to resign. He said what she did broke with centuries of tradition, with decorum, and that she is not fit to hold the office of the Speaker. Her behavior is giving fodder to every right-wing, every moderate, conservative, Republican, independent commentator, journalist in the country. It was mind-boggling to me. It just was. I mean, call me old-fashioned, that I believe that we still need to have some level of continuity of just decorum, just politeness. She's the Speaker of the House. She's third in line for the presidency, or second in line after the vice president. And for her to sit there and tear up the speech, it was so beneath the office. And it showed the level of rage and hate that she has for President Trump. Now, in the next segment, I'm going to play for you the last few moments of President Trump's speech. I want you to listen to it. And right when the speech is over, you're going to see her stand up and start to tear up the speech. Think of what would be in the heart of a human being to tear up that speech at that moment after what President Trump just said. It's unbelievable. All right, quickly, there were so many people in the gallery that President Trump acknowledged, that he put forth as an example, put forth as a hope, or put forth showing how his policies were helping. It was genius. This has been happening since 1982 under President Reagan. Every president does it. It's just a part of what we expect. It was brilliant on his part. Absolutely brilliant. And it was very interesting because most of the people that he put up there, at least half, were African American. And much of his speech was geared towards the African American community. There's been a lot of people denouncing him because this was a speech to his base, blah, blah, blah. He had a 100-year-old African American Muskogee airman up there who he made a brigadier general. He had a man who was on drugs and who got off drugs up there. He had a young African-American girl that wanted school choice and announced to her that she was getting a scholarship to go where she wanted. It was brilliant choreography, and it was a brilliant speech. And then one of the high moments, which was truly partisan and truly deserved, was when he awarded to Rush Limbaugh the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In case you don't know, Rush Limbaugh has recently been diagnosed in stage 4 lung cancer, a fairly aggressive cancer. He's about to start treatment, and I hope you're praying for him. I'm praying for him. Please, God, heal him. But friends, in my opinion, he is the greatest broadcaster alive, and he has done so much for pro-life, conservative causes. We are forever in his debt. And I believe that he deserved the medal. And I'm just going to keep praying for him, and I ask you to do the same. I'll be right back with some moments of President Trump's speech. Even if you saw it, you're going to want to see this part again. Don't go away. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, "I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life." Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700 or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Welcome back, friend. One of the highlights from President Trump's State of the Union address is when a sergeant who was stationed in Afghanistan surprised his wife and 2 children up in the gallery, and President Trump said, "Your husband is here." She was crying. There were people that were crying. It was a beautiful moment. Another really striking moment was when President Trump spoke to a mom and her little girl. The baby daughter had been born at 20 or 21 weeks and was in neonatal care and lived. She looked like a perfectly happy, healthy little baby. President Trump then used it to say, we've got to pass a law that says you can't kill babies that are viable. It was an ambush. You could see it coming, and it was great. I believe that President Trump is pro-life as much as he understands, and everything he is doing and everything he has done and everything he is promising is spot on, including addressing the March for Life in Washington, D.C. If we as a country can end the killing of children, we can come back to God's full blessing. But in the closing moments of President Trump's speech, he gave such a profound, historic sweep, such an inspirational speech. I thought, I've got to play it. And I'm going to play it. And here it is. I hope that it inspires you like it inspired me.
As the world bears witness tonight, America is a land of heroes. This is a place where greatness is born, where destinies are forged, and where legends come to life. This is the home of Thomas Edison and Teddy Roosevelt, of many great generals, including Washington, Pershing, Patton, and MacArthur. This is the home of Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, Amelia Earhart, Harriet Tubman, the Wright brothers, Neil Armstrong, and so many more. This is the country where children learn names like Wyatt Earp, Davy Crockett, and Annie Oakley. This is the place where the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth and where Texas patriots made their last stand at the Alamo. The beautiful, beautiful Alamo. The American nation was carved out of the vast frontier by the toughest, strongest, fiercest, and most determined men and women ever to walk on the face of the earth. Our ancestors braved the unknown, tamed the wilderness, settled the Wild West, lifted millions from poverty, disease, and hunger, vanquished tyranny and fascism, ushered the world to new heights of science and medicine, laid down the railroads, dug out the canals, raised up the skyscrapers, and ladies and gentlemen, our ancestors built the most exceptional republic ever to exist in all of human history, and we are making it greater than ever before. This is our glorious and magnificent inheritance. We are Americans. We are pioneers. We are the pathfinders. We settled the new world. We built the modern world. And we changed history forever by embracing the eternal truth that everyone is made equal by the hand of Almighty God. America is the place where anything can happen. America is the place where anyone can rise. And here, on this land, on this soil, on this continent, the most incredible dreams come true. This nation is our canvas, and this country is our masterpiece. We look at tomorrow and see unlimited frontiers just waiting to be explored. Our brightest discoveries are not yet known. Our most thrilling stories are not yet told. Our grandest journeys are not yet made. The American age, the American epic, the American adventure has only just begun. Our spirit is still young. The sun is still rising. God's grace is still shining. And my fellow Americans, the best is yet to come. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
There you And of course, I'm sorry that you had to see Nancy Pelosi at the end beginning to tear up the speech. What a great and profound vision for America, who we are, what we still can be, and what a diabolical moment for Nancy Pelosi to rip that speech up. God save us from our enemies. See you next time.